There we go. This was some months ago. We had 5, was it? We had 63 or so the other day. But in the homeopathic science, I took one tiny bit of silver water, spat in it, and then dunked some bread, and we threw it out onto the lake. The ducks, or the swans and ducks ate it. Now that becomes those 5 or 6 that ate it, they take on the immortality, if you like, and is the reason why the seas have been turning red. We should do an update on that too. Some years ago, around 2000, I started making reverse osmosis colloidal silver with my blood mixed with it. And Dimity had become a Buddhist, and their guru was supposed to be the king of Indonesia, and he was taking on all of his congregation's sins, so they say he was getting sicker and sicker. So she asked me if the miracle water would cure him, and I said it'll either cure him or kill him. I said, now, she wanted to take 4 litres, and this man is bedridden, and on Friday nights she would stay overnight with him and look after him. But pretty dedicated, lovely thing to do. So I warned her that he will feel so good that you mustn't let him get up and exert himself. Because it's very dangerous. Well, it cured him and killed him. He got up, went outside, down the lane, to the toilet, because he hadn't been up for ages and ages and ages. And on the way back, he dropped dead in a massive heart attack. Or a stroke. Probably a stroke. Had his eyes crossed. That makes a stroke, doesn't it? So, of course, Dimity had to witness this, you see. And yet her stepfather is God. Totally ignores him. Thinks I'm an idiot, right? Even though I cure AIDS. And everything else. And put all these fantastic things up on the internet over the years. All I wanted was a family meeting, you know. Just get everybody together and talk about it. Hello, my name's Nell Street. They used to call me Janelle. What was that? March 30th.
March 31st.
31st.
2008.
You know why they have white underwings?
You made them that way?
Well, it's for landing. Yeah.
The landing lights?
No, when they come in, yes, that's right. As they're beating their wings, it's hitting the water, and they're getting the light bouncing back, and they know exactly how high they are when they're about 30 feet up. When you see them come in formation, I saw 2 coming from up, all the way up. And as they're coming in, they're on a glide, right? And you could feel the vibration of their wings as the feathers would stall.
Yeah.
Individual feathers were stalling.
Yeah.
Therefore no lift. And they came down and they landed, this sound going past. and they landed exactly the same moment.
Beautiful.
So they have the white wings, and they put the glide out, and they can move them about, and they can reflect moonlight or sunlight or whatever they want.
Right.
Because they see things that you can't see. They get pretty good at flying, I know that. Okay, so we've contacted 18 churches, embassies and whatever.
Newspaper.
Marriage,
Business.
marriage
Wedding.
business, wedding business in Hollywood.
Yep.
Did we mention on the letter we sent that Obama had made 2 years earlier? Had made the 21st of December speech?
No, I didn't agree with that. There's a lot of information in there though. But flat out getting it interpreted and then following all the logic, reason.
We said it in English anyhow.
Yes, they'll have to get it interpreted.
I don't think that's a problem. So Nettie's been on and he's getting out of Facebook. This is totally controlled, is that right?
Yep. Oh yeah, they're just playing with everybody.
I wonder if it's a computer program as opposed to actual people doing it.
Well, what did we hear the other day that the building where they have Facebook is in Norway or somewhere, isn't it? Didn't we hear
I didn't hear that, no.
Yeah. Facebook facility or something. Sweden or Norway, somewhere like that. Yeah, that guy was talking about it.
So well placed meteor.
Yeah. Yeah, the fellow was talking about to do with alternative energy, solar cells, and talking about the amount of power needed to, I don't know, but it was the Facebook building.
Huh.
The cold snow and ice across Moscow and the northern countries are killing people left, right and centre.
Now, as usual, we're down to the wire, and we get into the ear of the Armenians. Tell them how all the numbers fit. Prove who I am, no problem. And the prophecy of the Hindus come true, in that it was supposed to be 1,000 years old, that Jehovah, Yahweh, Jesus Christ, would be back on the earth and be recognised in 2012. Now we've only got 2 days to go. So what we'll do, we'll make up a fake acceptance by the high priest. Right? That yes, we believe that this is the law. Because after all, the prophecy has to come true. sun with the blue spot. All the energy pours out and directly looking at you. That's your 657 number, see? I mean, it's such a lock-in, slam down, open as there. You know. Okay, who am I there? If I'm not him, who am I? Like, have I ever done an evil thing in my life? Have I ever lied? I don't mean women, that doesn't count. And forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. They do know what they're doing. And if they get down on their knees, I will forgive them. Pretty fair, isn't it? Oh.
Mind you, you're locked in. You're locked in, you're bound by the covenant that you made with Adam. Everything.
Explain it.
Well, you gave Adam 5,500 years, and didn't matter how much Adam pleaded for forgiveness and to be allowed back into the garden. He said that you couldn't. It had to be the 5,500 years, and it was over and over that Adam and his righteous seed. So that's it.
Now, what happened in the middle of Australia when we was taking the H1N1 cure to the Aboriginals when they're trying to kill them all? And I turfed Adam out.
Oh, he begged.
Same thing, huh?
Yes. Well, what is interesting is, yeah, he begged for, oh yes, oh yeah, exactly, beating his breast. That's what Adam did. He beat his breast and crying and tears, prostrated on the ground and wanted to die. Over and over and over in the story. And you forgave him other things, but for the transgression of breaking the one very simple commandment, told him over and over, I can't. It's left my mouth, it's covenanted, I can't break it. You'll have to wait the 5,500 years. So that would have been the 7th of July. 7th of July 2009. If you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, well, as I say, doing the measurement using Google Earth. Because I pulled them up 3 times to get it right. So whatever is on there now, that's good enough. And the distances are what I've revealed, the 777.77 number.
To the church, yeah.
And the distance from Abraham, who was going to sacrifice his son. So the test was, the seed of Adam, had he learned a lesson? Well, Abraham came along. He was going to kill his son. Because I said so. So I said, no, don't worry about it. So then he goes to, from there.
He had faith that you would provide.
Yeah, a lamb.
The sacrifice, yeah.
So from there he walked 68.888 kilometres in 3 days. There's just 3-day prophecy again. The 3rd day he raised again from the dead. And that's November the 11th, which Michelle asked me about. Nothing happened.
I mean November 30th.
November 30th. 68.888 years old. Okay, and simplify it. Adam couldn't, man created in the image of God,
Could not even obey one very minor, in the don't eat the fruit from that tree. And you told Adam, Eve was not on the scene.
That's
So
right.
Adam was to blame for the fall because he was with Eve when the serpent came along and beguiled her. She was completely innocent. And goes, oh, okay, and then hands it to Adam, and he took of it. He should have stopped right there and then said, no. God said not to. However, so
now they found his shoe.
well,
in a cave.
yes, this is really interesting because one of the first things in the story is that when they came out of the garden, after being in lush grass where they didn't need, now they're out in this strange land, they called it, and it's all rocky and stones, and they didn't know how to navigate, just walking along the rockiness. So just as they were now experiencing hot and cold, they needed covering, and the skins of lambs, which had been killed by lions, I suppose, some beast, the angels in their cave, which was called the Cave of Treasures, that was their shelter after coming out of the garden. The angels showed them how to stitch up the lamb skin as coverings for them. And then when I saw the photograph of the shoe that they found, and they say it's 5,500 years old, well, it looks like just the kind of thing that they'd need to have on the ground because they'd be walking on the straw, stuffing them with straw as the padding, so that they wouldn't hurt their feet from the rocks, and then join the skins together with very rough stitching. The angels used some kind of like a pine needle, long skinny needle that was vegetation, and then you sent your word and it said that that made the stitching invisible. Anyway, so Adam...
Well, they found the shoe.
Yes, they found the shoe.
In a cave.
And it's in Ararat, and it's in not in Ararat, it's in Armenia as one of their historical finds. Well, that's amazing. So that means that the strange land was that area.
I got to put my foot in, I suppose. It's a bit like the Cinderella story.
This strange land, after being evicted from the garden, where everything was provided and...
Everything was bigger.
Yes, everything was bigger, it was lush, the figs were the size of watermelons. But while they were in the garden, they didn't have the need to eat so much. Well, they didn't, because they didn't know what eating was, and they were reluctant to eat, and they didn't even have the body for digesting or processing food. So that evolved over the days and weeks, the longer they were out of the garden, and the necessity, they were fainting all the time with hunger and thirst and fasting and praying and...
Well, they have to have bacteria in the gut.
Begging for forgiveness, and then being Satan appearing to them on about 12 different occasions, different apparitions, as they were being tested over and over. I mean, when you read about it, it's well, as I said to you, they're children. Naive children who didn't do what Daddy told them to do, and now they're out, like living in Pitt Street, Sydney, after being in a beautiful mansion, as small children.
Yeah.
And the only way they can survive is to be constantly praying and asking you about everything. Should I do this? Should I do that? And any time that they didn't ask, they got into trouble. And so the first question says, from, who told you to leave the cave, or who told you to do this? So they got used to, before making their taking their next breath, asking if they should, and waiting for the answer.
So basically, that gets us to my birth date.
The 5,500
Plus
years,
70 weeks of Daniel.
Yeah, the 70 years of
That
your life.
gives us January the 11th, 2:22 a.m.
2013.
2013. So the rest of the world's going to be lagging behind a little bit. So I better work out what time it is where they are. I'm not going to tell them.
Yes, well it'll be, what, 14:22 or 12:22? What we're talking about.
See, I feel justified in answering on behalf of the Archbishop. Because I did write the script in the first place.
Yeah, totally. Yes, it'll be 4:22 in the afternoon.
16:22.
16:22.
Revelation 16, something like that. Yes, see, I might as well go ahead and make the announcement because they're in an untenable position. Right?
Mm.
So, I should mention my brother, who was born the same number as the distances from the church to the Great Pyramid. Slightly less than 8.88 years. So it gets that same number, right? It's 8878. That's what it is. And sunrise to sunset, with the moonrise 197 minutes later, was, for the sunrise to sunset, was 780, which I was looking up today for you, remember? And that is Ararat.
Oh.
And 197.
Ararat.
Couldn't save his life.
No.
Geez, I tried hard. Made a complete fool of myself in front of the family. But I did think it was rather amusing. I wish I had a camera with me and I didn't. When the chalk on the chalkboard on Christmas Day, after they'd been in their usual taunting me about my odd beliefs.
So what year was that,
It would have been probably 2000. That's where, from that point onwards, I tied in with Michael. But the chalk had rearranged itself to the, as if it was done with the CAD program, forming GOD in white on a black board, and leaving the chalk that had been written out by my niece, who was born on my birthday, by the way. My aunt died on my birthday too, I think. So the chalk where she'd written out, the atoms had left like a circle.
Like a ghost? Like a
Yeah,
ghost?
so it just shaded off.
Yeah.
And then all accumulated to letters about 2 inches high.
Mm.
And they all left. Just got up and walked out. So I'm left there with Kerry and her de facto, Peter, and the twins. Let's have a family meeting, put it all together. This is what I'm telling you. You'll say how smart I am and I should be a millionaire. Well, everything's based on money, I think. So, there you go. Osmosis colloidal silver with my blood mixed with it. And Dimity had become a Buddhist, and their guru was supposed to be the king of Indonesia. And he was taking on all of his congregation's sins, so they say he was getting sicker and sicker. Now that becomes those 5 or 6 that ate it, they take on the immortality, if you like. And is the reason why the seas have been turning red. We should do an upload on that too. Some years ago, around 2000, I started making reverse. So she asked me if the miracle water would cure him, and I said it'll either cure him or kill him. I said, now, she wanted to take 4 litres, and this man is bedridden, and on Friday nights she would stay overnight with him and look after him. But pretty dedicated, lovely thing to do. So I warned her that he will feel so good that you mustn't let him get up and exert himself. Because it's very dangerous. Well, it cured him and killed him. He got up, went outside, down the lane, to the toilet, because he hadn't been up for ages and ages and ages. There we go. This was some months ago. We had 5, was it? We had 63 or so the other day, but in the homeopathic science, I took one tiny bit of silver water, spat in it, and then dunked some bread, and we threw it out onto the lake. Ducks, or the swans and ducks ate it.